So today I'm talking about a Toyota with the P1604 code, what it is and how you go about fixing it. And so what is a Toyota P1604 code? Well, it's a startability malfunction. And what does this mean? Well, basically the engine's having problems running. It's either not starting up at all, or if it does start, it's like immediately shutting off or stalls out or something like this. But basically the engine's not wanting to start up and run correctly. And so the onboard computer's throwing out this code. And so this code can be a little bit problematic to troubleshoot, but I'm going to go over the steps that you can do to help find out what the problem is and how you go about fixing it. And so first of all, if the vehicle's not starting at all, if the motor's not turning over, if it's not going rrr, 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 or anything like that, then the first thing to go and check is going to be the battery. Be sure it's charged up, be sure the battery cables are good, things like this. With this code, the engine's going to be constantly being cranked on. So if you have a battery charger, it's going to be a good idea to go put a battery charger on it while you're troubleshooting it. And if you check the battery and the battery's good and the engine doesn't turn over at all, then the next thing to go and check is going to be the starter. But basically the first thing is that you want to be sure that the engine's turning over. And the most common problem when you get a Toyota P1604 code is going to be that the engine starts, but then it shuts down immediately. It might take a little while to start it. You might be cranking on it for like 30 seconds or something, but it'll start maybe for like 1, 2, 3 seconds, and then it shuts down. Or it starts and you go to push on the gas pedal and it shuts down. And so that's the most common problem with this code. And by far the most common problem when that happens is going to be there's some kind of problem with the fuel delivery. For some reason, there's either no fuel pressure going up to the engine or it's very low fuel pressure. And so the first thing to go and check is going to be the fuses and all the relays that control the fuel pump. And this could be a little bit different on different Toyotas. It's really going to vary a little bit. You might have to do a little research exactly what's going on. It's very common for Toyotas to have the relay labeled underneath EFI up inside of the engine compartment. And then often there's one up underneath the dashboard. So for example, here's a 2001 Toyota Corolla and the EFI fuse would be right here. An easy way you could check to see if it is a relay is you could swap it with the horn relay, which is usually the same. You could check the numbers on the top, but they're usually the same. You swap it over, and then after you swap them, if the horn works, then you know it's not the relay. Also be sure to check for any fuel pump fuses. In this example, it's going to be the EFI fuse, and quite commonly there's a fuel pump relay up and underneath the dashboard. Again, inside of this example, 2001 Toyota Corolla, it'll be way up and underneath there to the left. In this example, that relay is the same as the horn relay again, so you could use it to troubleshoot to see if it has gone bad. But first thing to do is find out all the fuses and the relays that control the fuel pump and be sure that they're good. If you can't find all the relays on your particular Toyota, then use a multimeter, go back to the fuel pump itself, and be sure that it's getting power. And so if the fuses are good, the fuel pump relay is good, and you are getting power back to the fuel pump, then it is possible that that fuel pump has low fuel pressure. It's just not putting out enough fuel pressure for it to start. For example, you could look up the rated PSI for your Toyota, but say it's supposed to be running at like 45 or 50 PSI, but it's actually running at like 10 PSI or something like that. Then that fuel pump is very likely just gone bad. It just needs to be replaced. You can try to do a fuel pressure test, which is an easy way to tell if the fuel pump has gone bad. A lot of Toyotas don't make it very easy to do a fuel pressure test. They don't have easy hookups on the fuel rail or anything like many other vehicles. But if you can do a fuel pressure test, that'll quickly tell you whether or not that fuel pump is working properly or not. But if you're getting power back to that fuel pump, then the next best thing to do would be either test or replace that fuel pump. And of course, anything blocking the fuel lines can cause us problems. A lot of Toyotas don't have inline fuel filters, but if you do happen to have one, it could be a good idea to replace it because it might have become clogged up and fuel just can't go through. They're usually located on the side of the gas tank with the fuel pump, but if you do have an inline fuel filter, then that could be a good idea just to go and replace. Another thing to keep in mind is that if the fuel is very old or if it's low quality fuel, then that can cause issues and the engine won't be able to fire. So that's something to keep in mind. And if you go through all that things, that fuel pump's getting power, you test it and it's good, then the throttle body might be really dirty, which can cause engines to run badly. It might just need to be cleaned up. There might also be something with the MAF sensor, which detects all the air going into the engine. And there might be something wrong with the onboard computer, but that's fairly rare, but it is possible that the onboard computer is just having an issue. And so that's basically it. I just wanted to give a basic overview of how you go about fixing a Toyota with the P1604 code. If you have anything to add, please comment down below. If you have any questions, ask me and I'll try to answer them. If this video helps you, please click like, please click subscribe, and have a good day.